Okay, welcome back to video 3. We're on wall material layers. Now, we're going to select wall material layer. Now, if a customer came in and they said, hey, I want to sheet it with 7/16 OSB and I want to wrap it with Tyvek, then I want 1-inch blue dowel on top of that, and then I want metal. You can do it. Just put it in just like you would build it. So if they said they wanted OSB, choose your OSB, then wall wrap. There's my Tyvek. And then they want insulation. Then come down here and say blue dowel 1-inch thick, update. And then notice it keeps popping down until you do a finished wall layer. So then you would say steel siding from here, okay? Or vinyl siding or whatever you're doing. Now, I don't want to do that for this particular video, so we're just going to choose steel siding. I just wanted to show you what it could do. You choose your metal company here. I'm going to go with metal sales. We're going to go ash gray and we'll go charcoal for our trim. Okay. Now notice though, when I say trim color is charcoal and the panel color is ash gray, I have a question. What trims will match charcoal and which trims will match gray? Now I would like a wainscot on this building, so the next step I'm going to do first is I'm going to go up here to wainscot and I'm going to choose steel and I want it to be charcoal. I'm going to copy it to all 4 sides and I want the height to be 40 inches. See how I did that? Or now I changed my mind. I want 36 inches. Okay, so you can go in and choose what height you want. Your nailer, believe it or not, we got some customers that use a 2x4. I don't know how they do it, but we want a 2x6 in this case. Okay, steel siding. All right. One other thing we got to do is choose how we want our layout. Do we want all of our end wall panels equal on opposite sides of the peak? Or do we want to just start from the end and let the 3-foot panel roll where it goes? Or in this case, I'm going to say I want to start on the end. I don't care whether or not there is a rib at the peak, but some people do. And if you do, you're going to start your layout from the center. And the problem is there, you got a backlap. Okay? All right, so there's your options. We got the wainscot. Now we got an advanced tab. Back to the trims. Which trims match panel color? Which trims match charcoal? So if we click on trim, notice we've got the J channel on the walls matching panel color. The Z molds matching panel color. Outside corners are matching trim. Drip molds matching panel. Base guards matching panel. I want to change that. I want that to match the trim color. And I hit update right here. Okay, so see how I'm doing this? All right, so we got an understanding of that. One last thing, in the advanced tab, you also have a miscellaneous tab. If you're an F and J user, uncheck these two and check F and J. If you're not, if you're a J channel and an F channel user, you check those two. Now, this is just, hey, what trim would you like to default for your overhead doors or your general openings? Right now, it's defaulted to overhead door trim. So you've got these options here. And again, if you set this all up in the template, you don't have to go back through. It'll automatically be selected for each one of these components. Okay. Now we're going to cut out around all door openings. We're not going to seam on the gable ends. Some don't use hem trim, some do. Stitch screws, some do, some don't. Pricing on the steel order form, some want it, some don't. Okay, so the options there. Then this is just to increase the gable panel length. So if you start on the end, let's say you start on the end and you start at the left side and you run all the way across. When you get past the peak, your panels are not equal. They're going to be an inch difference. So what some people do is, because they've cut them out in the field and they've grabbed the wrong panel and they cut it, and then when they get to the other side and they need it to be an inch longer, they cut the panel that was an inch longer. They were close in size, but not the same. So when you run into that, so some people are like, man, I don't ever want to run into that. I don't want to have to wait for my steel. So I'm going to add an extra 3 inches to every gable end panel. Update. So just an option for you. Okay, next. Roofing material layers works the same way as wall layers. The only difference is in wall layers, you get 5 options, 5 layers, I should say. In a roof, you get 4 layers. Okay. I'm just going to go with insulation. You got choices. I'm going to use fan fold. I wonder if I got any fan fold in here. There we go. I'm going to use that 1/4 inch fan fold. Then I'm going to choose the steel panel. And I'm going to go charcoal on my roof and my trims. Remember, in advanced, you've got trim stuff to deal with and miscellaneous items to deal with. The miscellaneous items, one of them is how far you want your panel to overhang the building. Okay, right now it's set to 2. Well, I want that at 3. See how I set that there? All right, and then ridge cap, you got a choice between 14 and 20, or also ridge vent. You know, there's profile ridge vent. There's MWI makes Implico and Cobra. They all make vents for the metal roofs. Okay, so you can choose between them as well. Update. All right. So right now we're going to do a standard gable truss, but just so you know, we also have gambrels, the steep pitch, the shallow pitch, and pitch break. Question mark just launches what the pitch break does. And I can see we're getting ready to run out of memory here in a second, so we're going to have to end video 3. I'm sorry we have to do this in sections, but this is the way it goes. There it is. Okay, so here's an example of the gambrel. When we're talking about the horizontal plane, we're talking about on the x coordinate. So just on the flat horizontal plane, where does that transition take place? Steep pitch, shallow pitch, horizontal plane pitch break. So that is the information that we are asking for here. Okay, but we're just going to do a standard gable with a 412 pitch. Roof purlins, we're going to do construction grade. We're going to not lay them flat. We're going to turn them upright on edge because we're doing a match pole to truss. So our trusses are going to be 8 foot apart on this building. So I'm going to turn my purlins laying upright on edge instead of laying flat. And I'm also going to overlap them. Okay, and the spacing is 24. This bird block, it's going to return you a bunch of lumber. It's not blocking just the end walls. We're blocking every single void in a purlin that's turned up on edge. The reason we do that is we have a lot of requests for customers that want every void filled to keep a bird from nesting between the truss and the insulation barrier, because they'll build a nest up there, and of course birds can do a lot of damage, especially when they start pecking at that vapor barrier. Okay, so if you choose this, just know that you're going to get for every single void up there on the roof between the truss and the purlin, or the truss and the vapor barrier between the purlin. Okay, and then advanced, whether you want the original length or if you want them uniquely numbered on the cut list, and whether or not you want to use your very first row of fascia as your first row of purlins, and then do not stagger purlins or do not shade them. Okay? All right, so we're going to update that. We're going to end here, and we'll start on video 4.